Tykarindom Histories Index. This index is co-edited and composed by Aldane the Elf and Sophia the Tyonian. It covers the terms, names, peoples, meanings of all the times from the Aeon up to the twilight of the Sixth Age. We tried to make it as current as may seem possible. Yet there are gaps, as some knowledge is lost to terrestrial time. What may have occurred during the Age of Aeon, or during the period of the immortal mortal sleep, these are, by their very nature, sketchy at best, and the terms are more mythological. That is, shadowy truths are there contained. Obviously, terminology closer to our own time are tightly adhered to. This will be a useful tool to grasp all the collected works regarding Tykarindom Chronicles, the Age of Legends, the Great War, the 12 Lords, and the fate of Prince Thukman II, and my own work, Almagan's Game. Sophia the Tyonian, AA6, PGW 990, T7. Terms, terminology, names. Abbie the dwarf of Schwarzkove, the daughter of King Song. Aeon, a place of existence of unmeasurable, motionless time, not eternity, realm of the first Hellarcons, birthplace of Saman Adonijah, Amatoriel, and Lord Dragon, a created nature. Agia the Supernaturalite, the daughter of Lord Saman Adonijah and Lord Amatoriel. Amatoriel, Aeon born, he was and is Saman Adonijah's quester and lover. She could only hear him if he used the word beloved. He is also known as a Magister Lord. Ancient fire, the fire from which the staff of law was forged, and from which Lord Dragon separated out his own magic, resulting in the shattering of the laws of nature. Angel, the appointed trainer and guide to Agia the Supernaturalite and her 6 companions. Apraxes, the way life separated from the aura, the way of terrestrialism, the usurpation of the place of the uncreated, thought limited to one's nature, ego, conflict, antagonism, denial of creaturehood, hate, pride, magic. Equations, created sentience of the oceans on all the worlds. Aura, supernatural rays from the nature or essence of Almagan. Sometimes the aura is described as emanating from the Wunder of Almagan. Aurification, partaking of the uncreated nature, sharing in the rays of its energies in fullness, leading to theosis. Auspressland, the village of deception. Breathstones, green marble stones, hard to control and dangerous. They were forged by the Wunder of sacred fire. Saman Adonijah could not wield them, for she is of Aeonic nature. Only 7 in number. They bring about a sharing of terrestrial being, of the 5 senses, between persons who hold them. The sharing is 2-way. Bronze globe, an ousia, essence or nature portal, located in the city center of Urban. Celestial halls of Hellarconrum, where Agia was born in the first quarter of the First Age. Creature, any created thing, any created existence, all created natures except the one uncreated nature, all created sentience except the one uncreated sentient, all created realities except the one uncreated reality. Crystal Mountain, the twin mountain of Mount Hylor, near the Mere of Magic portal of Queensland, where the Cream River flows south of Hellarconrum. Below are the Caverns of Temptation. Crystal Sea East, the ocean lying east of Tykarindom and the Celestial Kingdom. Crystal Sea West, the ocean lying west between Queensland, Ubuplatz, and the island Mars, between Misty Island, Liberty Island, and Urban. Dark Oath, the covenant between Honor and Gunai and the Tribune of Power to preserve the dominions of the Noonian people and their urban empire. Day of Rain, Latter Rain, also known as the Rainy Outpouring, Day of Usia, when according to the ancient prophecy, individuality is shattered and nature is healed, reunited with the supernatural. The term phrase first appears in Stephen the Riddlewiser's alleged work, The Age of Legends. Dwarfs, the people who dwell in rocks of Irten. Their language is Tifarsprach. Tifarsprach is very close to ancient Urbane, and is among the oldest of Irtonian languages, though it is surpassed by modern Urbane. Earthlings, native beings of Irten who made magic from its substance. A rare few are prophetical bards who forsook magic. Stephen the Riddlewiser is an Earthling. Irten, Middle Dwarf, Elven name. Hearthheart, Dwarf name. Solacor, name given by the off-worlders who are the unfallen terrestrials, such as the elves of Titan. Land of the Mirror of Magic, as the Earthlings named it. The extraterrestrial called it Makusia, a merger of their tongue, meaning enchanted nature or essence. Irtonians, blonde terrestrials of small stature. Thai people of the Second Age, from the village of Irten in the land of Tykarindom, named to separate those Irtonians who possessed the aura, and those of the village of Irten who rejected the gift of the aura. Edens, guardians of the celestial oasis, order of changeling angels. Edens are extraterrestrials like Nevnamonians, only friendlier and more willing to cooperate with terrestrials. Ehrgeis, the Horenrai term for the aura. Eldom, the capital city of Mars Island. Eucalyptus Village, the home of Ka'ai and his kinfolk, and the location of the throne of Theophany. Ex nihilo, that which has no nature and therefore is nothing. This Urbane word is equivalent to the Elven term uk-an. Extraterrestrial, beings of the Aeon who come closest to the true immaterial nature, which are not known or seen by terrestrials, except by revelation or intuition. The term can also refer to beings outside the terrestrial Usia, who are not of the Aeon. The half-twins, Andrea and Jenny, can be described as extraterrestrial beings of the Usia Chronos. Forest Guard, the tree guards of the one forest that concealed the original Mirror of Magic, which Amatorial perched on Mount Zeitzone, the place, some say, of Lord Dragon's first defeat. The last surviving forest guard is Seth. Forever World, the dwelling place of almost all condemned separated auras. Gabby the Martian, an elf who possessed the gift of speed. Glassy Sea, uncreated realm of Almagan's throne, called Reitgorhoch in Horenrai tongue, that is, ancient Urbane. Gnavna, a Nevnamonian word which is passed into the Urbane language. It is a catch-all name for all the auric energies that animate and shape the created, emanating from Almagan, guardian lord and sacred fire's wunder. Great Council of Tempjobile took place at the end of the Aeon, or, as one might prefer, after the first immortal sleep, sometime at the start of the first terrestrial age. This was the council which saw the creation of the Mirror of Magic in order to secure the peace between the Usias and contain the growth of magic. The Mirror of Magic is sometimes also referred to as the boundary of peace. Great Lake of Eldalore, a lake on Misty Island, named after the legendary elf Eldalore. Haven Castle, the fortress and capital of the Noonian Empire in Urban. Hellarcon, The original lords, Samhan Adonija, Amatorial, Buzangalor, Troimtother, are among the original lords. Hellarcon, the Auric throne and kingdom of the original lords on Irten. Horenrai, twisted lords formed by Lord Dragon's magic. Immortal mortals, all created sentience of whatever nature, ousia or essence. Instinct, the weaker equivalent of intuition, often nature-limited. Intelligibles, these are creatures of pre- or early eon, if such a designation is logical. Edens are intelligibles. Angel is an intelligible. Intuition, the extraterrestrial act of revelation. Island Kingdom, located west of Tykarindom and north of the South Sea. Judah or Jude, the arch-nemesis of Agia, the once ruler of Forever World, Lord Dragon's terrestrial expression of himself, a transgender Tyonian. Kalikon, malevolent goblins known only in legend until the Third Age. They dwell underground and only surface above ground on high feast days, such as the Feast of Union. They seem to have perpetual hatred of the one tree. They are small black creatures, humanoid apart from their long black tails. Their shape resembles that of a little black devil. Leaves from the one tree are powerful wonder to fight them. The Kalikon are Ousia Divna. Katumtokos, the magical mountain above the valley of Tomagikos, where the Saman Adoniza is said to have called down the wonder of Almagan. Ka'ai, Qualla of Queensland, an important companion of Agia the Supernaturalite. Kingdom of Hela, located on Island Kingdom, ruled by King Memnon, a warlike earthling. Landers are blonde Irtonians who don't evolve with the aura in the Second Age to become Tyonian. Sophia is part Lander. Leviathan, an equation of the telling shell. Liberty Island, also known as Sacred Island, it came to be in the Second Age, the work of Amatorial after Troimtother had walked in his dreams. Liberty of Elandria, located on Mars Island, it is the great library maintained by the elves under the supervision of Aldain the Elf. It is said to contain all the works of the most illustrious of elven scholars, earthlings and Tyonians. Lord Dragon, Lord of Magic, usurper of Irten, hater of the uncreated supernatural, deceiver of honor and gunai, and known to the Nymphs as the Tribune of Power. He is also known as Busangalor by the Hellarcons and Lords. Lord Theopany, an expression of Guardian Lord to the Quallas of Queensland. Magic, what is procreated without the aid, consent, participation, or acknowledgement of the wonder of uncreated. Magic is the use of the power of innovation, the use, shaping, alteration, or remaking of creation by the created, without as if independent of, and having no need of, the uncreated ousia. It is the use of revelation without acknowledgement to the uncreated ousia, the adhering of the belief that intuition is a product of the created. Magic is the creature's war on the uncreated, antagonism to the uncreated ousia. Magic is alliance with the created only. Evil is magic, and magic is evil. Magister Lord, one who has mastered supernatural knowledge, but because of some failing, falls short of theosis. Magusia, the term used to refer to Irten by the Nevnamonians. Mars, a planet of the terrestrial nature where the elves come from. Mars Island, a small piece of land surrounded by the crystal West Sea, west of Queensland and north of Ubuplatz, an elven stronghold. Martians, elven terrestrials of Mars, the off-world sister planet of Irten. Martian is also the mother tongue of the elves, though they are fluidly multilingual and speak all forms of Urbane with ease. Matter, a creation of Wunder, sometimes called a Hiluvnafama by the Nevnamonians and Edens. In ancient Urbane, it is called Umformba Wesen, and in Low Urbane, it is sometimes referred to as an intelligible. It is the uniting of intelligible qualities, which when united results in cooperating sensibles or forms. That is Usias. Matter is dynamic. The Nevnamonians and Edens both use the Ionic term matavneria to describe the insentient creature which underlies Usias. The elves speak of it in Martian as ik ule nemapfi, from matter to form Usia. Matter is therefore dynamic, and Usia's matter is relative to another Usia. The thinner the content of an Usia's matter, the less compatible the Usia to an Usia with a heavier content of matter. When matter loses one form, it gains a new form. When matter has no form, no Usia, it is said to be uk-an. Materiality. Degrees of matter or natures or essences. Matter plus aura equals reality. Metaphysical. The nature of existence shared by all Almagan's sentient beings. The nature of reality each sentient being is capable of comprehending. Mirror of magic. A cloned portal to mimic the uncreated power of the one tree. The initial work of Almagan, on behalf of the Council of Temp Jobele, the perverted work of Lord Dragon, is a symbol of his lordship over Irten and all terrestrials. Misty Wood, an enchanted forest on Misty Island. Morwedge the sorceress hid there from the threat of the storyteller, also known as unfaithful. Morwedge sorceress, a powerful earthling who mastered the magical arts and guardian of the 7 forest songs of Lake Eldalore. Mount Serpentine, the highest peak in Irten, where Lord Dragon ruled in the land of Ubuplatz, in the plains of which lie the Marsh of the Separated. Mount Zeitzone, a mountain located on the western edge of Avalon Plains. Nevnamonians, created auras of the thinnest materiality, so thin they are invisible and immaterial to terrestrials. They are extraterrestrials or superterrestrials. The terms are often thought interchangeable, Nevnamonian and extraterrestrials. But this is inaccurate if extraterrestrial is limited to Nevnamonians. Nevnamonians are spontaneously born without physical union. Nevnamonians are only knowable through intuition or revelation, but once known, they are always visible to the knower. Nevnamatika, Queen of Nemnamon, daughter of Nevnamantikos. Nevnamon nature or Usia Nevnamon, a place in creation indescribable to terrestrials, but known in the elven lore, first into it by Eldane the elf while on Titan. Nous, highest intelligence or mind. Eldane the elf is said to have reached the place of Nous among terrestrials. Nymphs, elves who have been corrupted by Busengalore's magic. Uk-an, a state of non-being, of non-existence. The elves call it a state of absolute nothingness. In the Martian language of the elves, Oti-ek, uk, unton, opoisen ofta o almagan. Usia, noun. The Tyonian term which means existence or form of existence. It can mean the same as the ancient Urbane term Wesen. The Tyonians also interchange this word with such words as essence and nature. Usia Trainen, the phrase which describes the essence or nature of the Quallas of Queensland. Stephen the Riddlewiser writes in the Age of Legends that Quallas came from the tears of Almagan. Usiav Nama, a Nevnamonian verb meaning to engage in acts of wonder from uk on. Tyonians practice Usiav Nama by means of the aura. Usia Chronos, a term which refers to the Usia time. Time is a creature of Almagan's, that is, a created being. Usia Chronos expresses itself through its half-twins, Andrea, the past of itself, and Jenny, the future of itself. Usia Chronos is a complicated being, only the Nevnamonians and the rare elf can comprehend. The materiality of Usia Chronos is very thin, but not as thin as Nevnamonians, and it intermingles with the Usia terrestrial, giving off the illusion of sequence and disguising its distinct nature of separate existence from terrestrials. Pajraj, Pajraj of Eon, a mythical place of the great pyramids of the terrestrial lands where auras are kept. Phaedra, the magician mother who adopts Jude the half-breed after discovering him on the streets, homeless and parentless after the immortal mortal slumber. Phos, the uncreated power light of the staff of law. It is an invisible, immaterial essence, not seized upon by terrestrial senses except by its effects. Pink diamond ring, a mythical phrase which came to mean the wonder of uncreated energy that seals two beings, sought by Amatoriel to wed Saman Adonisa. Plains of Avalon, the lands west of Irten village toward the western range, where Saman Adonisa first met the Horenrai creature in her journey to find Engelram, Hellarcon. Praxis, the practice of the aura's energies, love, justice, compassion, healing, hope, faith. Auric sculpting, procreating in synergy. Providence, purpose of the uncreated, shaped in foresight of the free or kinetic acts of the created. Queensland, where Almagan's eyes filled with wonder tears at the immortal mortal sleep he imposed on the created realm of Irten, the droplets of which fell to become the kinsfolk of Ka'ai. Quallas, the dwellers of Queensland, the kinfolk of Ka'ai. Often referred in ancient Urbane as Die Kinder der Usia Trainen. Second Forest Song, a song about the transformation of magic-twisted Hellarcons into the Horenrai, a race of changeling beings devised by Busengalor to deprive Amatoriel of the love of Saman Adonisa, and stop the conception of the prophesied Supernaturalite. First Forest Song, a song which describes the aching love of Amatoriel for Saman Adonisa. Realms of nature, every created thing of Almagan's. Reitgothoch, Horenrai urban tongue, place of the throne of Almagan, the uncreated realm of the Sea of Glass, the home of the original celestial lords. Revelation, the metaphysical act of knowing realities and foreign natures from the uncreated. River Wunder, the healing flow of the uncreated one tree. Saman Adonisa, Eonian, Hellarcon champion of Irten, purpose of Magister Lord Amatoriel, mother of the Supernaturalite. Schwarzkove, the kingdom of the dwarfs first founded by King Song. Sensibles, these are all Irtonians, and all terrestrials of any kind. 7 Eons, the robes of sacred fire. 7 flames of sight, the 7 flames that are an expression of sacred fire and burns before Almagan's throne. Silkweave, the passage between Mount Hylor and Crystal Mountain that led to Hellarconrum. Staff of Law, the staff that bridged the natures by the 7 laws of supernatural decrees. Stephen the Riddlewiser, an earthling prophet from the first age of Irten. He is affirmed as the author of the work The Great War. Other works attributed to him but are disputed include The Age of Legends, Das Zeitalter der Legende, Eldalor's Bane, and in some places, Tykarindom Chronicles. Others consider Eldalor the author of this work. Supernatural, the mixing, collision, or intermingling of variant ousias, essences, or natures. The use of the wunder emanating from the uncreated ousia in any created ousia. The supreme example of the supernature is the uncreated ousia, personified in the hypostatic union of High Lord Almagan, Guardian Lord, and Sacred Fire. Synergy, cooperation with the supernatural, uncreated energy of Almagan by the aura. Cynic being, one who has transfigured to a level unhindered nature cooperation. Telling shell, the means by which the present of natures can be seen at great distances. Tenders, a class of humanoids that look like small children. They all look male. Their outlines reflect, like light hitting armor. They dwell in the aura, the nature energies. They cannot extract, they cannot hinder. They can say what's to be, what's been ordained, and what must be. They are also known as thought wills, the logai, or the almagonic or unborn ideas. They are first encountered by Urbanites after the Urban War. Tendic wound, the wound from Amatorial's creation which bound Amatorial, Saman Adonisa, Lord Dragon, and the Supernaturalite to enter into conflict over the timelessness of love. Tending, an unchanging directive energy from the wunder contained in each aura. It can be combined with active will or resisted with an active will. It is each sentient and non-sentient's pre-eonic or eonic purpose of being. Sometimes, in extreme emergency, the tending is manifested for terrestrials in the tenders. Humanoid expressions of the tending. Tending and its tenders are manifestations of potentiality and never a certainty or permanency. Tending is sometimes used interchangeably with the phrase Almagan's living idea of each creation. Theods, beings of the united natures. Theosis, adoption into the supernatural, engracement, graced. The one forest, all the woods of Irten combined. The one tree, the nature portal of the terrestrial worlds before the fall of Lord Dragon. The boundary of peace between Almagan and Lord Dragon, between the warring created sentience, often conflated by sentience to be called the mirror of magic, which is a confusion of the histories. The Great War, the first violent conflict between variant ousias, between those who practiced the art of magic and those who engaged in ousiav nama, the art of engaging in acts of wonder from Uk-an. The armies of magic followed Busengalor, and they fought against the armies of Saman Adonisa and Amatorial to draw toward the end of the Aeon and the early dawn of the First Age. Out of mercy, Almagan intervened to pause the Great War with the legendary wunder of the immortal mortal slumber. The Great Ravine lies beyond the Western Range Mountains. The Great Eagle, an expression of sacred fire, the uncreated. The half-twins, personified expressions of the ousia Chronos, one called the past, Andrea, and the other future, Jenny. Guardian Lord shaped the past, sacred fire the future. Prince Thukman II. He led the new empire for a brief period in the Third Age. He belongs to the race of the Nymphs. They were off-worlders to Irten from the planet Venus and are of terrestrial nature or ousia. Space explorers, some of them settled in the land of Urban, defeating what remained of the Earthling power and establishing the new empire. Toll House Lord, shadow ruler of Forever World. His claim is upon all those who breach the laws of natures, an underlord to Lord Dragon. Tu Magikos, the mythical valley where the final battle of the Great War is said to be fought, where the armies of Amatoriel and Lord Dragon suffered the immortal mortal Wunder sleep. Tower of Amatoriel. Amatoriel built this tower on Liberty Island to defend against the magic of Lord Dragon. Its fall led to the flight of pregnant Saman Adonisa to Hellarcon and the final battle of Aeon First Age conflict before the immortal mortal slumber imposed by Guardian Lord at Mount Zeitzone. The tower is also referred to as the Tower of Liberty, for there Amatoriel sought to preserve the love growing between himself and Lord Saman Adonisa against the attacks of the evil Hellarcon Bus Engelor and his magic Horenrai. Troimtoter, an underlord of Lord Dragon, invader and destroyer of dreams. Ubuland, the marsh where the outward terrestrial forms of the separated of Irten are buried that surrounds Mount Serpentine. Ubuplatz, Lord Dragon's domain on Irten's highest peak. Urbane, the majority language spoken on Irten. A rare few, such as the Queen of Urban and the upper wizardry class, will speak ancient Urbane. Tifarsprach, the language of the dwarfs, is nearer to ancient Urbane than most other Urbane dialects. There are two forms of modern Urbane, one spoken by the students and young terrestrials, called Hisbane. Joanna will often speak Hisbane to the annoyance of her parents, and the other common in all transactions in the land of Urban is simply referred to as Low Urbane. It is Low Urbane that is the common Urbanite language, known to the most low and the most high. Wilf the Archer, blonde Irtonian and travel companion of Saman Adonisa in the First Age. Wunder, the unending emanation of the uncreated Usia, separated by Almagan for his creatures who wish to practice Usiavnama and draw near to him in love. The energy of the aura proceeds from the Wunder. Those who engaged in the use of Wunder by means of the aura, Usiavnama, were the Tyonians of Tykarindom, who followed the legendary stories of Saman Adonisa and Amatoriel. The Wunder makes possible Usiavnama, a nature-piercing ability. The level of ability to manipulate Usia from Uk-An is a gift from Almagan through Guardian Lord from Sacred Fire. Wunder Mist, a supernatural mist that surrounded the great lake Eldalor and Moorwedge Castle, within which lived the Eyes of Life. Kronos, the nature or Usia of the half-twins. This is a post-Aeon form of existence, expressed by the post-Aeon beings, Andrea and Jenny. Zauberlos, the ancient Urbane term for one who either refuses or are unable to use the magic arts. It is a term of disdain and derision used by Urbanites. Lord Saman Adonisa and Amatoriel could not use the breathstones, so they were scorned and feared by Urbanites as Zauberlos. Zeitalter der Legende, the major ancient prophetic work of Stephen the Riddlewiser. The work passes down the histories and legends of Saman Adonisa and her suitor, Magister Lord Amatoriel. It also prophesied the coming of Agia the Supernaturalite. Sophia the Tyonians' translation of his work, Almagan's Schicksalsspiel, is considered the seminal scholarly translation of this work. Things supernatural, the uncreated. 1. Uncaused essence, uncaused being. A. Almagan. B. Guardian Lord. C. Sacred Fire. A. 7 Flames of Sight. B. Great Eye. C. 1 Dove. 2. The Energies. A. Wunder. B. Aura. C. The Tenders. D. The One Tree. E. The Great Eagle. Things caused, the created. 1. Eon, created unmeasurable ages. 2. Lord Saman Adonisa, Usia Eonic, first of the Hellarcons. 3. Busengalor, Lord Dragon, Usia Eonic, Lord of Magic, usurper of Irten, hater of uncreated supernatural. 4. Magister Lord Amatorial, Usia Eonic, Saman Adonisa's quester and beloved. 5. Hellarcons, the first lords made to rule the various Usias or worlds within Usias, i.e. Irten, Mars, Venus, Titan of the terrestrial existence, Nevnamon of the Nuvna existence. 6. Saman Adonisa, Queen of the Land, Lord of Irten, Eonian. 7. Amatorial, Eon-born, he was and is Saman Adonisa's quester and beloved. She could only hear him if he started his every word with beloved. 8. Horenrai, the broken Hellarcons, changeling lords of magic. 9. Usia Chronos, a form of existence called time, a creature of Almagon, that is, a created being. It expresses itself through the half-twins. The Usia of time is of thin, almost non-existent materiality. 10. Busengalor, Lord Dragon, Lord of Magic, usurper of Irten, hater of the uncreated supernatural. 10. Mirror of Magic, an antitype of the One Tree, formed out of the sea of glass by Almagon, enchanted by Lord Dragon to merge the natures with himself. 11. All sentient beings, whether they be terrestrial, Nuvna, Trinan, or Chronos, Martians, Nevnamonians, Earthlings, Tyonians, Urbanites, Edens, elves, Hellarcons, dwarfs, or Hellarcons. The Empire of Nu. The rise and fall of the Noonian Empire play a pivotal role in Agia the Supernaturalite's return to battle the evil forces of magic. After the Second Age has passed, the heroics of Agia the Supernaturalite and her 6 companions are legend. When the Third Age reaches its midpoint, rule has passed from the Earthlings to the Noonians. The Noonians are powerful space explorers and warriors from the terrestrial planet of Venus. They conquered what remained of the weakened Earthling power after the fall of the Urban Queen and set up their Noonian Empire. The Nobles of Haven Castle. Delos the Dwarf, whose name means fearful. Erastes the Tyonian, whose name means lover. Strategos the Irtonian, whose name means general. Karaminos the Earthling, whose name means joyful. Troy the Urbanite, whose name means faithful. Taushin the Urbanite, whose name means deceived. Leiter the Elf, whose name means leader. Verater the Hellarcon, whose name means traitor. Krieger the Noonian, whose name means warrior. Zamin the Qualla, whose name means gentle. Nevnamonian Linguistic Index. The Glovnase Tongue. The Nevnamonians are powerful extraterrestrials, whose variant Usia dwells in a place reachable by terrestrials only on the moon Titan, and known to only a few elves. Nevnamonians are considered sync beings, for they have mastered the art of Usia travel to such an extent that no Usia, besides the uncaused Usia, is unreachable by them. They alone among the original Hellarcons held aloof during the Great War. If one encounters Nevnamonians, it will be difficult to understand them. They speak other tongues with difficulty on purpose, for they have great pride in their own language, being the derivative language of the first Hellarcons, like Saman Adonisa and Amatorial. There is no really orderly breakdown of the Nevnamonian tongue, Glovnase, because it is very rare for terrestrials to catch a glimpse of a Nevnamonian. Usually, if they do get a revelation of a Nevnamonian, it is in their own language from a source of the Wunder, such as a prophet like Stephen the Riddlewiser. What follows are parts of Glovnase preserved in the elven lore, said to be edited by Eldalor the Elf before he went mad. This is not a complete linguistic lexicon. There are obvious gaps. But I myself have had great success in my encounters with the Nevnamonians, having mastered what we know of Glovnase. And Nevnamonians are much more welcoming if they do notice you have made some effort to learn their tongue. By Aldane the Elf, AA6, PGW 990, T7. Glovnase pronunciation. The following key is useful to learn to correctly pronounce the Nevnamonian tongue. All the few great lords and scholars who have had contact with Nevnamonians have learned to use this language, myself and Lord Theophany included. This listening doesn't purport to provide every pronunciation possibility. The Glovnase tongue of the Nevnamonians is elusive, as they refuse to regularly mingle with other Usias not their own, except in extreme circumstances. Unlike other beings, they are extremely proud and determined to maintain the uniqueness of their form of existence. As far as revelation has taught us, the Nevnamonian vowels are pronounced in the same fashion and sound as the Martian language of modern elves, which is very helpful because we can retranslate them into the Low Urbane for the average reader. A. Short sound as in father. B. As in boy. C. K. Hard K as in kite. CH. Hard K as in kite. D. Hard as in dogma. E. Like a long A sound as in amiable. F. Like in phone. G. A hard G like in go. I. A short E sound like in eat. J. A Y sound like in yes. K. Hard like kite. L. Hard as in like. LL. A soft Y as in yes. M. Hard M as in monster. N. Hard N as in number. O. This letter is hardly seen outside diphthong form. Alone, it has the sound of A as in omicron. P. At the beginning of a word, P is hard as in people. In the rare case of P appearing in the middle of a word, but in front of a vowel, it has the twirl of a R as in row. For example, Skivnata Tauvne Zavnika, the mirror of magic. Q. We have found no words in Glovnase using this letter to date. R. The tongue is twisted as in a double R for arrow. S. Hard S as in sail or sailor. T. Hard T as in Tom. TH. Same sound as in the or theme. U. Has the sound of U without the Y. Oo. V. Hard V as in victory. W. This letter is sounded like the W in the low urbane, wish. X. A hard ch accompanies this letter, like our low urbane word chrome, or as if pronouncing a hard cr, krypton, or a hard cr, crowd or crave. Y. The same pronunciation as ya. We have yet to discover a Nevnamonian word that starts with this letter. Of the diphthongs, that is, vowel combinations, we had to decide whether to equip you with the modern Nevnamonian pronunciation or the ancient one. For example, AI in modern pronunciation would have the sound of E, as in the low urbane word equal, but many scholarly Nevnamonians pronounce it the ancient way, with the sound of I as in ice. For our purpose here, this being a more scholarly work, we will provide the ancient derivative of the pronunciation. AE pronounced E as in eon or equal. OI pronounced like oil or the sound of toy. In modern pronunciation, it would have the E as in equal sound. EI. This would have a long I sound, like in kite or might. IE. This would have a sound E, sound like equal or eat. The combinations of AU and EU has the same effect, making the sound af as in after and ev as in every. So the Nevnamonian word efkovna, meaning you in plural, or you all, is pronounced efnikovna or evnikovna. The Nevnamonian verb shavna, meaning to look or gaze, is pronounced shavna or shafna. OU is pronounced like the low urbane word U without the Y, oo. EU. Sometimes, in the middle of a word, this combination will produce the same sound as OI would. These words have to be memorized. EO. A word with this diphthong combination usually follows the general rule of all Glavnase diphthongs, that you pronounce the second vowel's long sound. The Nevnamonian noun Eovnata, meaning eternity, is pronounced E-ov-nata, as in saying oval. Nevnamonia words and phrases. A. Aduvnia, to help. Eovnia, eon, a place outside of time, yet separate from the beginningless nature of eternity. Agtavna, noble. Ihayavnusa, hall. Akovnoka, yet, nevertheless. Almagon Meida, divine idea or living idea. Anaplasvna, the Queen's Palace of Nevnamon. Anuvnamia, number. Asavna, almost. Astrovnimisha, port. Atavnika, suvne, immortal sleep. Avna, two. B. Vevshpilna, sample, example. Bivna, picture. Blikivna, I see, you see. Blakivnama, we see. Adding ma to the end makes it first person, plural. C. Kovnisa, white color, white. D. Dekavna, the 1 in 10-year rainfall of Titan, considered a sign of Hiravna Povnera, the Holy One, wrath. Der Movtia, created the created. Drovnia, dragon, Lord Dragon. Duvna, you, singular person pronoun. Duvnakana, to be able, can. Irtovnia, Irton. Irtovniama, Irtonians. Isagnavna, entrance. Etrevnega, to enter, entrance. With an E, its subjective command form, enter. Nasevnia, synergy, cooperation, being in sync. Ovnata, eternity. Etrovnara, to honor, a verb. Fervna, almost, ready, finished. Throivnia, a word often translated as love in the filial or brotherly sense. This is often called by Nevnamonians the love of common interests. It is translated in Low Urbane by the word friendship. Fovnamia, aura, soul, energy, can sometimes have the meaning of power. Fuvna, for. Gdevna, past participle, filmed, recorded. Gevnerisha, terrestrial or terrestrial beings. Gevnoya, begotten. Gukavnala, good, well. Havnia, to have. Halvnia, meaning holy or saintly. Huvnilisha, referring to the celestial realm. Hevnafaria, holy fire, sacred fire. Hiravna, master or ruler, sometimes to mean leader. Hiravna povnera halvnia, the Holy One. Hersenia, be welcome. Irvnata, Navna irnata, I go. Irvnea, there. Istrovnika, a historian, a person who studies the past. Ivne, into. Yavna, yes. Kevnarsa, will, future tense verb. Kivniadyas, children. Kovnokia, to come. Kreravnaria, to fight. Krevnamanda, war. Krovma, crown. Lasevna, to allow, to permit. Lavna, meaning love of a rational and unemotional kind. Lengskria, energy, life force, sometimes interchanged with Fovnamia. Libevnega, to love in a way of passion or erotic. Lev, past tense particle used in simple past constructions. Irvnatha lev, I went. Levdev, past pluperfect used to denote completed actions in the distant past. Irvnatha levdev, I had went. Matavnika, metaphysical. Medanevna Nevnisula, the island palace from where the queen ruled the Nevnamonians. Mavnoka, certainly, definitely, for sure, of course. Magrovnias, great, large, magnificent. Menlevna, people, generic of an entire species kind. Methevna Sevna, largest body of water on the Nevnamon, the Nevnamonian homeworld. Mivna, same. Moivna, me or mine. Navna, two. Nasovnia, still, once. Novnia, no, not. Nervine, only, soul alone. Nuvnoma, only, soul single. O, abovna, up. Usiav neza, essence, nature, referring to a form or mode of existence. Usiav nama, the art of engaging in acts of wunder from uk on by means of the aura. Usiavna, this is equivalent to the ancient urbane word vesen. It is the low urbane word being or creature. Uvna, sound, tone. P, perimnevnia, more, much, in a plural way. Povnela, much, many. Povner, of, a preposition. Prohisafia, personhood, person. R, rasivna, out. Retivna, to save. Revnama, verb, to run, running. Rovna, now, this moment. Rovna movna, command, immediately. S, savnia skavna, thank you. Selposvna, individuality. Servina, I am. Navna, navnas, navna, navnam, navnata, navnatan, to be. Skivnapra tovne zavnika, the mirror of magic. Spravna, to speak. Stalivna, city, urban center, sometimes used generically, Stalivna, to refer to the realm of urban, having the sense to the Nevnamonian ear of tyranny and magic. T, to kivna kevna, to have something to do, must. To have to do something, must. Thuluvna, to wish, to want, to desire. Thuvnerta, poison, usually used as a synonym for Lord Dragon's magic by the Nevnamonians of Titan. Tivna, the. Tivnas, of, a preposition. Tivna ein nabavna, the one tree. Tivner, of, preposition, archaic form. Tovna, now. Tugavnama, verb, to do, to make. Trakav nertanya, Tykarindom. U, uberaf nufska, referring to the supernatural or other nature. Uberaf nufskate, supernaturalite. Uvnida, preposition, through. Unsovnia, us. Untevna, under, among. Uvsuv, so that. Uv blank suv. In order that. Irvanta lev uvnovia. Vevnirdam krepavnaria luvna irneva zuv tevnika kevna. V. Vakatavna, crazy, insane, nonsense. Verbivna, past tense of verbivnoma, to connect, to join. Vyavnama, verb, to see. Vastehervniama, verb, to perceive, learned perception, the trained ability to perceive different usias. W. Vekmavnavia, guardian. Varuvna, why. Vavna obovna, to wake up. Vevnirda, to become, a future tense helping verb when followed by a verb means will. Vovnata, would. Vuvna, simple past, meaning was when combined with a past participle. X. Korivna, location, place of operation, sphere, sphere of influence. Kravneba, color. Chronos, time, the creature time, the nature or ousia or essence time. Why? Yovna, I, personal pronoun. Z, Zavnika, referring to magic or the magic arts. Zavniraka, to return, to come back. Zeptivna, concept, idea. Zevna, time. Numbers. Anuvnamia. Evna, Zavna, Drivna, Vivna, Pevna, Sakavna, Sevna, Akavna, Nuvna, Dovna. Dovna Ena. Exwavna, Ena. Trixevna, Ena. Vertisevna Ena. Pusevnata, Ena. Sakazivnata, Ena. Zevdovna Ena. Ogovna Ena. Nunevnata Ena. Ukandevna, 100.